Flashy knockouts, powerful stranglings, and a pile of 19 bodies of confirmed kills on his resume. Dricus du Plessis is a true definition of an ultimate finisher who is not keen on taking prisoners. With 9 knockouts, 10 submissions, and only one survivor who lived to tell the tale of the final bell, Dricus' journey is all about destroying the opposition and never leaving it to the judges' hands. Although his highlight reel is an MMA treasury without exceptions, we will look at the 10 times the South African absolutely annihilated his opponents. And if you guys enjoyed this video, please subscribe and be the force behind our push to 10,000 subscribers. Let's do this. 10 versus Darren Till. Considering the lack of ground superiority, Darren Till decided to become a buddy with Khamzat Chimaev to polish his grappling credentials. Sure enough, Dricus du Plessis decided to put the Englishman to the test, which he failed only 20 seconds into the first round. Till was subjected to constant pounding, which helped the South African discover his talent for drumming. Somehow, Darren Till survived the onslaught and even returned with fire, but little did he know that you can't break steel with a glass hammer, so he ended the round on his butt. After a knee that partially landed, du Plessis decided to drag the Englishman into murky waters, but Till refused to stay down and returned the fight on the feet, only to be taken down later in the round. The crowning moment arrived in the third, when Dricus started the finishing sequence with another takedown, followed by pounding a couple of nails. The South African continued the torture seminar with a face crank, forcing Till to tap and avoid his face being cracked. 9 versus Roberto Socia. Dricus du Plessis stood out in the local EFC organization with his exceptional skills, catching the eye of the prestigious Polish KSW. Recognizing his talent, KSW made him an offer he couldn't refuse. On April 14, 2018, he faced their champion, Roberto Socia, a dangerous slugger with an impressive record in 5 different European MMA promotions. Facing some serious punches that sent him to the canvas, du Plessis showcased impressive defensive skills and relied on his superior grappling to nullify Roberto's striking prowess. Although he ended the first round in a dominant position, du Plessis learned the risks of standing against a skilled boxer like Socia. Surprising everyone in the second round, du Plessis, known for his grappling expertise, landed a perfectly executed left hook that dropped the champion. The South African seized the opportunity and went for the kill, smashing Roberto's face until the referee jumped in to save him from spending the night in an emergency room. This spectacular Alex Pereira-style left hook secured du Plessis the KSW Welterweight Championship, and he was only getting started. 8 versus Yanik Bahati. According to many, this fight was the most intense rivalry in EFC history, and it was evident from the face-off when Yanik basically landed his best shot in the whole du Plessis saga. However, when they locked him in the cage and Dricus started launching ballistic missiles, Yanik's confidence slowly began to shrink. Being discouraged from keeping the fight on the feet, Bahati makes this brilliant move and shoots for a takedown against a guy who squeezes like a python. Dricus wasted no time and wrapped his arm around his neck. The foe tried to withstand as long as possible, but eventually decided to tap and prevent from being awakened by the referee. This victory earned du Plessis his second major title, becoming a 2-division EFC champion by claiming the middleweight belt. If you want to know how he won the first, stay tuned just a little bit longer. 7 versus Marcus Perez. Dricus du Plessis was welcomed to the UFC by Marcus Perez, a dangerous finisher whose appearance resembles Tong Po from the 1989 Kickboxer movie. 3 minutes into the fight, the South African decided to seal the deal legally, so he steered his victim into an ambush. Then he triggered the machine gun fire, making his opponent kiss the canvas. As he bounced his head like a pinball machine, the referee jumped in to prevent Marcus from leaving the arena horizontally. 6 versus Martin van Staden. By December 2015, 7 unlucky fellas had tasted the bitterness of defeat at the hands of du Plessis, who was now knocking on the title door. The following year, he was set to lock horns with Martin van Staden for the EFC Welterweight Championship. Martin charged forward like a bull from the moment go, in an attempt to put the challenger on his back. The fighters went all in for 2 rounds, without bulletproof vests or helmets, delivering a close battle on the feet and constant scrambling on the ground. But then in the third, after defending a submission attempt, Dricus reversed the positions, and now it was his turn to show him how it's done. He reigned with punishment and snatched the neck. Du Plessis slowly started to cut off the oxygen supply, giving the opponent the option to tap or nap. The tight guillotine claimed Dricus du Plessis his first major title, as he was now the EFC Welterweight Champion. 5 versus Jhonatan Santos. On December 14, 2019, Dricus was scheduled to face Jhonatan Santos, who was on a 6-fight winning streak. In the closing seconds of the first round, the South African took the bull by the horns and went for the kill. Luckily for Jhonatan, he was saved by the bell, although going to the second round against Dricus can hardly be called salvation. In the second, du Plessis started cooking the liver in Hannibal Lecter style and persistently demanded a tap. He decided to change the strategy and take a note from Khabib's book by applying the Dagestani handcuff. After a one-sided pounding where Dricus was the blacksmith, the referee was left with no other choice. 4 versus Trevon Giles. Fast forward to the UFC career when du Plessis was scheduled to face Trevon Giles, who was coming off 3 wins in a row, including notable wins over James Krause and Roman Dolidze. The South African knew that Giles is a dangerous striker and that a brawl should be avoided, but nevertheless, he decided to play Russian roulette by keeping the fight standing. Later in the first, he went for a takedown and tried hunting down the arm, but Giles showcased good defensive skills on the ground. For some reason, the American decided to dive headfirst into a slugfest by exchanging dynamites without protecting himself. However, Dricus' dynamite turned out to be bigger, as he countered the adversary with a clean shot that turned his lights off instantly. 3 versus Darren Daniel. Back in 2015, Dricus du Plessis was matched against Darren Daniel, who had a 100% finishing rate. Early in the fight, Dricus wrapped his arm around Daniel's neck and subjected him to a gravity shock treatment. The South African proceeded in the fight by giving him a free ride with du Plessis Airlines. After a few consecutive takedowns, the battle continued on the canvas, where Dricus reigned supreme. He quickly reversed the position and went for the neck. The opponent never had a chance, as he got a pit bull bite on the throat. 2 versus Derek Brunson. Du Plessis faced a major challenge when he was set to fight Derek Brunson, a top-ranked opponent known for his big victories over battle-tested vets like Uriah Hall, Lyoto Machida, and Kevin Holland. The match witnessed an intense battle, with both fighters showcasing a level of wrestling. The fast-paced action hinted early on that this fight wouldn't hear the final horn. As the second round concluded, du Plessis had consistently landed shots on Brunson's face, leaving the American visibly exhausted and struggling to stay upright. Seizing the opportunity, du Plessis delivered a series of precise shots that brought Brunson down. Du Plessis didn't let up and continued launching torpedoes at the opposition until Brunson's corner threw in the towel, ensuring their fighter's safety for another day. 1 versus Robert Whitaker. On July 8, 2023, Dricus du Plessis was locked in the octagon with Robert Whitaker, one of the greatest gatekeepers in UFC history. The South African was a big underdog for a reason, as Bobby Knuckles was a top contender for years, and if it weren't for Israel Adesanya, Whitaker would have been the champ for a long time. Fighting and beating fellow UFC fighters was one thing, but going up against one of the greatest middleweights on the planet was a completely different thing, and Dricus was there for a bang. Robert went for a takedown but quickly aborted the mission as he almost fell into the guillotine trap. He maintained a top position, but keeping Dricus down turned out to be a tough challenge, as he was on his feet in no time. The athletes traded with bombs for some time, before du Plessis executed a beautiful throw that would make even Islam Makhachev jealous. The South African was a pit bull on the floor, tearing the victim apart with elbows and punches. The turning point arrived in the second round when Dricus launched a rocket through a jab. Whitaker was wobbled and barely stood on his feet. Du Plessis seized the opportunity and pounced on the wounded prey with heavy blows. The referee, Mark Goddard, jumped in to save Robert from absorbing more punishment, granting du Plessis the biggest victory of his career. What makes du Plessis stand out is his versatility and well-rounded set of skills. He excels in striking and can submit opponents, demonstrating his dominance across all aspects of the game. Whether engaged in a stand-up battle or grappling on the ground, he has the knowledge and expertise to complete his objectives successfully. Competing against adversaries in different weight classes, du Plessis has exhibited intelligence and adaptability as a fighter, securing titles in both middleweight and welterweight divisions. Dricus not only focuses on winning, but also aims to astonish spectators with brutal finishes. With his spontaneous killer instinct and capability to adapt swiftly to any situation, he is poised to emerge as a dominant UFC champion who will reign supreme for years. And do you guys agree with our selections? If you enjoyed the video, share your thoughts in the comments. Smash that like button and subscribe to help us reach 10,000 subscribers and keep the excitement going in the octagon.